This is chapter 2 on the blog Someone Else's Recovery. Creature of More. You forgot I had called your mother and mentor during the night to arrange getting you into the recovery home. Meet me at 8, Will said, adjusting his hearing aid and lowering his voice through the receiver. I passed the phone to you, and you breathed heavy, sobbing that you wanted to go to God. So much pain. You didn't want to inhabit this earth anymore. I left you two alone to talk it out. When I came back, your eyes were lowered, and you didn't know where you were. But you knew you were safe with me, at least. We could both rest easy in that notion. Getting you up, I knew you were hungover, that the shakes would soon creep to your bones, and that I didn't have much time to beat them on the road to your new home. I sort of filled you in, but you didn't understand that I had set a time to get you there. You thought I just wanted you gone. I just needed to recharge alone. I reached my limit hours ago. I was running on fries you find at the bottom of the bag hours after the food was eaten. My hands dragging over my body, looking for excess energy to pull from. We fought about who would drive. I felt my control shift to high gear. You see the invisible cuff I put on each of our hands, but not where I hid the key. Can we not fight about everything right now? You demanded. I had never had you use that tone with me. I was off-put and stood still, pressed deep into the passenger seat. How drunk could he still be? With this guessing game, my mind spun like a roulette wheel. Panic set in, and he could see my shallow chest rise up and down, my eyes trying to leave the sockets, to not see what came next in my worst-case scenario, mental play-by-plays. The stories I tell myself. Eventually, after some silence and smooth driving on his end, we eased into the humming atmosphere. We stopped to get gas, and he came back with a huge milk jug, and again I watched him drown himself in liquid. I only had almond milk, which you begrudgingly took. I was a bit lost. Does he really like milk? It's the triglycerides. He read my mind and spoke. He had it all down to a perfect science. To this day, I can't pass that store without thinking about why milk helps hangovers. It's not information I can use, but there it sticks out like a sore thumb. The amount of effort that people take, I think to myself. You were not going to poop for a week, is all I managed to say. Now you seem lost, and I fill you in about large amounts of dairy causing a bowel blockage. I guess we both learned things new we didn't want to that day. The snow was fresh, and you turned down the radio as you swerve into a parking lot that overlooks the river. We'd been to this place before, years ago, to just sit and talk on one of our many wandering heart-to-hearts over the years that we have seen each other, sometimes sparsely through all the stages, jobs and loves. Always end up driving around, making sense of it all. I know with your memory that you don't even register this. It's only mine to hold for now. Creatures of habit and creatures of more like you. You jump out like you are in an action movie, leaving the door ajar. You stomp through the fresh snow and gaze to the river with ice chunks on the surface drifting by. I leave you alone for a bit. I for once can't even speculate where your thoughts are. I reluctantly get out of the car, leaving my side wide open too. I feel the coldness climb my limbs as I try to find you with my touch. I grab your arm and lean my head into you. I say nothing. We stare for a bit longer. We find our way back and turn around. We are almost late. The rabbit hole awaits. We step out onto what can only be described as a set for Twin Peaks. Something old and musty, out of no particular time. Beige, worn. We follow men into a trailer. I'm thrown between the rooms and the people in them, with you talking, being asked in and out of personal conversations. Stephen asked how long I had known Derek as he toured us to the trailers. 10 years, I shrug, but think sometimes I don't even know if I know him at all. They both see this thought flash across my face. Do you have reservations about being with me? He accuses gently. I do. I say, no, of course not, and smile. What's another thing like that on his list of worries right now? I will save it. A month later, Derek recalled this moment to me. Said it felt good to have someone say 10 years, and I agreed. I sit with a nice gentleman while Derek is in one of the conversations I had been excused from. He tells me his story. I'm half listening to him and to their whispers across the room while looking at the craters in his face. I amuse myself and thank him for sharing his story of hope with me. I'm innocent enough at this point to think my struggles were over. Ours were. Well, okay, that's that then. We are set here to take Derek into the recovery home now, and someone will contact you from the women's side sooner or later, so, you don't feel alone. It doesn't feel real. Take my car home if you want, Derek softly encourages me. No, I'm okay, I'll cab home. We hug, but admittedly it feels emptier than I had imagined. But I do feel relief, maybe for the wrong reasons. I can go home and sleep and find myself again in all of this, feel my own heartbeat, and know I'm okay too. We part ways after he walks me to the front. I had left his phone in his car on my way out. A few hours later, I get a call from his number. It's midday. Tree branch shadows dance on my walls. Well, I am passed out. I awake to it, confused, as cell phones are banned. They told me I couldn't stay, that I had the shakes, that I was in detox, that I had to go to detox and then come back. He had had something to drink as late as 3 a.m. last night. We tried to hide it for the common good of just getting him there. He had just come out of detox 2 days before all of this. He needed to be there. I felt gutted. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? My thoughts spiral, my sense of self a laundry load, overflowing and sudsing over. He didn't have answers, and I sure didn't know what to do. In my opinion, the answer wasn't drink. His was. The next few days were hell on earth for me. I paid $45 for him to stay a week at the Salvation Army. He had asked me for the money. I couldn't be sure it was the truth or would be used for something else, but it was the last thing I could do. Will had let him stay a few days before at his house. Now this seemed unsurprisingly off limits as an option. The welcome had worn off. I'd come to visit him there a few days prior. It was a lovely house filled with lots of light from big windows with books everywhere, a piano, and the boys laughing with Will's daughter over FaceTime. I liked the way you talked to him. So positive, Will said, hugging me as I hugged him back. It's so nice to meet you. He then went to the gym, leaving us alone to talk. Derek lowered himself to his knees in a strange kitchen, hugged his dusky light brown hair into my waist. I smelled the sweetness of sweat waft as he raised his head to me. Actually look me in the eyes. I'm waiting for you to talk to me for real. I reluctantly met his pupils with mine and felt a shock rock climb down my spine and fall off a cliff. I guess I didn't realize how often I avoid eye contact. It used to unnerve me how I could see through people without looking at them. I could always read between the lines of their existence, so I never wanted to finish them off with eye contact. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Down on 2 knees wasn't a proposal, but he was so soft and matter-of-fact, I paused as the thoughts on Tumble Dry dropped into my mouth. I don't know. Maybe. Not yes, but not no. Not the profound answer, but it was honest. I was hoping to get a yes out. Wouldn't it be romantic to just know? My intuition is tugging at my pearl-covered collar to think this over. Why? My eyebrow raised, throwing a chip into this pile. I don't know. I just wanted to know. He shrugged it off and bolted downstairs to change laundry loads, singing on his way down. I chased down after him, the smell of clean clothes hitting my nose. You can't just ask something like that and then run away. Derek then made me an omelet, half drunk, thinking I didn't know he was. He didn't make one for himself and took joy watching me eat what he could give me adoringly, so I split it half with him. We lay on the couch vertically, him gathering my legs like a human blanket to throw over him. We played an annoying game of him telling me he loves me, and me saying, I love you too. Many times into it, I sigh, look him in the eye, and softly say it for real. No inflection at the end, no half smirk on my face to indicate you already know this, so don't make me say it. I love you too. I say it differently than all the other times, and he says excitedly, that's the first time you said it, right there. He smiles and peers into me with his deep blue eyes. I start blushing because it's true. I'm unsure of how he knew that because I thought I was doing a good job at being authentic the times before. I thought I was. Before searching my gut to really pull up the words, Derek, my talented actor, had rehearsed me into true love. After, we lay in another smaller room, half Will's office, half halfway house, papers strewn on desks, bed unmade from Derek's sleep the night before. The conversation becomes real for me. I feel this heaviness clamp down on my lungs, and I break down crying while spooning, turned into a cold wall I press my hot hand against, telling him I am afraid to love him, of a future with him. As my tears fall, he wipes them away over and over, his fingers meeting, some before they drop. They keep coming. He keeps wiping. Again, he isn't reassuring me. There is just stillness. It's only 7 p.m., cold, dark, dead of winter. In that room, even though he was drunk and I was scared, and I thought about how none of my stable exes would have ever wiped my tears like that. Others just ignore me for 2 days and let me cry alone. Like when I was a kid crying, I never got hugged, just told to stop, or I'd have more to cry about if I didn't. I can cry in the dark, alone, or on the bus for some really inconvenient reason. Barely in front of people I actually trust, whoever they are at this point. Derek leaves the room again, singing and calling me to follow him. I start to feel like I'm on a happy scavenger hunt through this house, ending at these happy little moments I'm collecting, and I'm actually enjoying it, even if I shouldn't be. On a cold porch, we sit apart on thin wicker chairs, talk about chakras, while a song sounding like it's straight out of Django Unchained plays. He says, "Shh, look, Django." I say, "Unchained, right?" He smiles big. "See? This is why I gravitate towards you." Turning his slender but hard body towards me, "We don't have to have sex to make love." My eyes bulge and I choke back an amused laugh to wonder where that came from. He exhales deeply and inhales dramatically. Opens his eyes again, and after his long breath, "What do you want?" "I want a house where it's open to friends, family, anyone who needs us. I want a dog and a 9 to 5, and on my free time I want to do my creative projects. I come home to you and a kid. I want someone who will dance with me at a wedding." I get up to hug him. "Will you dance with me at weddings?" "I'm a great dancer," he says, looking down at my face, wrapping his arms back around me. I am finally so happy to have someone say this to me. I knew I could have put a song on then and grabbed him, and he would have danced with me on the spot. I can't because he keeps excusing himself, going around the back of the house to smoke, which isn't necessarily a lie. The truth is somewhere between that and a bottle and a planter, I presume. He comes back to me more off-kilter every time. I feel so fucked up. Part of me feels like I lose him a bit, and part of me likes how open and loving he becomes with the upping of his BAC. I secretly called an Uber to come get me, as I was only intending to check up on him after my shift ended. When I mention this to him, he starts acting like a hurt child, vulnerable and guilty. "You can't leave me. Please don't leave me." I tell him it's okay, and he accepts it for about 20 seconds before reverting back to begging me to stay. "You are better than this," I demand. "I have to go. I have to work tomorrow." How fast he has forgotten the real world's working class and timetables, it seems. My beautiful creature of more begrudgingly lets me go.